David Shaw here with another off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., come visit my site, offtherecordtours.com. Let's go. There are a lot of myths and urban legends about Washington, D.C. floating around out there. So today, as people prepare to return to visit our city, I thought I'd spend a little time debunking some of those myths. So, when we're together again, we can spend time on the important stuff. The Lincoln Memorial is home of the myths I hear most often from visitors and from some misinformed tour guides. One of the stories is that Lincoln's hands are making the American Sign Language symbols for the letter A and L. And this is because the sculptor, Daniel Chester French, had a hearing impaired child. Not true. French used molds of Lincoln's hands that were created in 1860, and he opens up the right hand to make Lincoln appear more relaxed. Now, the myth probably has its origin in the fact that French did do a sculpture of Thomas Hopkins Gallaudet, the co-founder of the first school for the hearing impaired in the United States, Gallaudet University, right here in Washington, D.C. And one of the figures in that sculpture was signing the letter A. Another story I hear a lot is that Daniel Chester French carved a profile of Robert E. Lee in the hair in the back of Lincoln's head. No, he did not. If you stare at the hair on the back of Lincoln's head long enough, who knows what you could see. It's kind of like looking at clouds. I see a ducky and a horsey and a unicorn. Another story I hear once in a while is about the steps. The 57 steps that lead into the chamber is said to represent Lincoln's age when he dies. Well, Lincoln is 56 when he dies. However, the 57 steps are the exact number of steps you need to get into the chamber. Here's another one. If you look closely at the Marine Corp Memorial, you'll find that there are 13 hands. No. 6 people, 12 hands. This baffled the sculptor, Felix de Weldon. 13 hands, he said? Who needs 13 hands? East-west streets in Washington are named for letters, but there's no J Street. Now, the story goes that that's because Pierre L'Enfant did not like Supreme Court Justice John Jay, and there wouldn't be a J Street. Not true. While we don't know the relationship between L'Enfant and Jay, it doesn't matter. By the time the streets were named, L'Enfant had been fired from his job as city planner. But more importantly, the typography at the time had not been standardized, and Jay and I looked very much alike, and streets named after them would have been very confusing. Even to this day, people who have an I Street address sometimes spell it EYE. If there's a story that you'd like to hear or you have suggestions for a future episode, make sure you leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe. Well, I hope you enjoyed that off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., things seen and unseen, arrange your tour of your nation's capital at offtherecordtours.com. Until then, I'm David Shaw.